In the bustling city of Moscow, two people are on a date. Oleg, a soldier on a 2-week break, and Alyona are hitting it off, and before they know it, they're spending the night together. But little do they know that something much bigger than their love story is about to unfold. Over in Paris, a plane is about to land, but suddenly all its lights go out, and the passengers lose consciousness. What's going on? The blackout quickly spreads around the world, leaving only a small part of Eastern Europe with light. Chaos ensues as people scramble to figure out what's happening. Back in Moscow, Oleg and Alyona notice something strange happening with the drones flying around. They rush to the hotel lobby, where they find every person in the building gathered to listen to the news. And it's not good. The anchorman explains that the blackout wasn't a natural disaster or a terrorist attack. Instead, the world has lost contact with the rest of the planet. As if that wasn't bad enough, a group of soldiers led by Mayor Dolmatov is sent on a mission to Kirov, one of the many cities now plunged into darkness. Journalist Olga on a spine-tingling adventure as she accompanies a team on a mission to unravel a dark mystery. The government has already sent drones to the area, but none of them have returned. Undeterred, the team enters the city and ventures into a store using special slime lights to guide them. Suddenly, they discover something spine-chilling. Every citizen in the store is dead, even the fish in the bowl. With no signs of an attack, the team is left puzzled as to what happened. As they continue their investigation, they enter various apartments and find everything in its place as if no one ever left. The eerie feeling creeps in once again, as it seems like people vanished into the air. Out of the blue, an unidentified entity launches an attack on one of the soldiers, leaving the rest of the team in a state of shock. Rushing to the soldier's aid, the team is no match for the being, who quickly seizes the soldier's weapon and makes a hasty escape through the window. Despite their best efforts to stop the being, their bullets have no effect, and it disappears into the darkness. The team is left with no choice but to retreat to their plane, taking the wounded soldier with them. Desperate for any information on their attacker, they question the soldier, but it's of no use. The attack was too sudden and brutal, leaving him with no memory of the assailant's face. As the days pass, news of a catastrophic event spreads like wildfire throughout Russia, with over 100 million people feared dead. Despite the government's attempts to maintain order, religious groups begin to gather, convinced that this is the end of the world. Amidst chaos and uncertainty, Yura receives a letter from the military, calling him to serve his country. However, leaving behind his mother, who suffers from Alzheimer's, breaks his heart. Despite his inner turmoil, he joins the army and departs for the base. The moment he steps out of his home, he is struck by the grim reality of a world that looks post-apocalyptic. Yura eventually becomes a member of Oleg's team, where they are briefed by Dolmatov and Colonel Marina about the current situation. The cities that are shrouded in darkness are under quarantine, and the only regions with power are Moscow, parts of Belarus, Ukraine, and Finland, an area known as the Circle of Life. Redcon teams have returned with bodies, and it has been discovered that they died from endogenous neurotoxins produced by the human body. The fate of the world rested on the shoulders of these new teams, tasked with uncovering the cause of the deadly neurotoxins and gathering crucial resources for Moscow. But it was a dangerous mission, as previous teams had gone missing in the quarantine zone, despite their heavy artillery. As they prepared to depart, more volunteers showed up, including Alyona, who caught Oleg off guard. Suddenly, an alarm blared, signaling an impending attack. Enormous monsters were closing in on the base, and the soldiers raced to defend the perimeter. But just as the battle began, the power went out, shrouding them in darkness. With Dolmatov firing flares to illuminate the attackers, the soldiers opened fire, but some of the beasts still managed to infiltrate the base, unleashing chaos and causing Oleg to black out. As the sun rises, Oleg wakes up to find himself pinned beneath the weight of a massive, lifeless bear. Yura appears by his side and together they move the bear's body, only to discover that the border is littered with dozens more bear carcasses. The reason behind their unusual behavior remains a mystery. Oleg is then taken to the infirmary where he is shocked to find Alyona, who is actually a doctor. As she tends to his wounds, he is overwhelmed by a sudden kiss of comfort from her. Meanwhile, Marina and Dolmatov are deep in discussion about the mysterious sensors, a group of people who seem to have gained psychic abilities after the blackout. These abilities allow them to receive information like radio signals, but they have yet to decipher its meaning or understand how it happened. Sasha, the most powerful sensor, is being held in a military hospital, plagued by nightmares of a bald stranger. During his visit, Genya reveals that he was sent by someone named ID, and explains that the 3 waves cause the destruction of all electronics, the self-destruction of all living organisms, and the eventual attack of any surviving beings in the quarantine zone. Millions of them are enslaved, stripped of their free will, but there's still time to stop it. Sasha wants nothing to do with the situation and calls for security, but the soldiers can't see the mysterious figure named Genya, dismissing Sasha's fears as mere hallucinations. Undeterred, the soldiers prepare for their mission, with Yura accompanying Olga to gather footage for the news. Yura admits that he finds purpose in this chaos, preferring it to his former life as a taxi driver. As they enter the quarantine zone, they're met with a terrifying sight. Tanks lay in ruins and buildings are torn apart by a gaping chasm, a clear sign that the third wave has already hit. The footage of this destruction sparks a citywide panic, leading to an increase in crime and riots. The government assures the people that they're working on a solution, but their reassurances fall on deaf ears, with many suspecting that the leaders are hiding something. The soldiers split into groups, determined to cover more ground and discover the cause of the devastating third wave. As Yura and Olga trek through the dense forest, a spark ignites between them, their flirtatious banter adding a new layer of tension to their already high-stakes mission. Meanwhile, Oleg joins forces with Team 4 to investigate a small town, only to have their mission take a dangerous turn when a soldier is injured. Ali 1 arrives to treat the wounded, but her solution may require drastic measures. Back in the city, Yura's sharp eye spots something strange about a store they've stumbled upon. His suspicion grows when he realizes the doors were locked when they arrived. Gathering a few soldiers, they set up traps and wait for any signs of activity. As the sun sets, the team braves the darkness, ready for whatever comes their way. Will they be able to uncover the truth behind the mysterious store, or will they fall victim to an unknown force lurking in the shadows? As the team prepares to head out, Yura takes a moment to instruct Olga on how to use flares to signal for help if they don't return. But Olga defies his request and secretly follows the team to capture everything on camera. In the store, they discover a wounded teenager who triggers a violent chain of events that leaves a soldier dead. Meanwhile, Sasha seeks solace on the hospital roof and encounters ID, who proves to be more than just a figment of Genya's imagination. With his otherworldly appearance, ID asks for Sasha's help, only for Marina and her squad to arrive and turn on her with their weapons drawn. Marina is filled with anxiety as ID reveals his abilities and plans, claiming to be on her side while warning of millions of others like him who seek to destroy humanity. Though hesitant, Marina senses something trustworthy in ID's voice. ID's explanation of his identity as a being that humans would consider a god leaves Marina stunned, as she guides him to her office for questioning. ID goes on to describe his mistake in the irradiation process and the circle of life, causing Marina to feel the gravity of the situation. The mindless drones are set to attack soon, and ID's species needs Earth for their survival. The fate of humanity now rests on Marina's shoulders. However, Marina is unsure if she can trust ID, and if she does, can they save humanity in time? With time running out, Marina knows she must act quickly to ensure their survival. As the conversation with ID continues, the shocking truth is revealed. Humans are actually a bioweapon sent by aliens to destroy the native population of Earth. The previous inhabitants were far more advanced and had even built pyramids and underwater cities. But humans, with their destructive tendencies and shared DNA with ID's people, made them the perfect weapon, stripped of any psychic abilities, until now. The unplanned radiation from ID's failed irradiation process is causing some humans to regain their psychic abilities, like Sasha. And with an army from ID's planet arriving tomorrow, tensions are high. But there's a problem. ID's brother RA is already on Earth, and his methods are ruthless. ID doesn't agree with his brother and needs to find him, but Sasha is the only one who knows his location thanks to his dreams. Suddenly, all the teams are attacked by mind-controlled humans, causing chaos and death. The soldiers try to establish a line of defense, but the enemy is too strong and they quickly run out of ammo. As an explosion rocks their apartment, Yura implores Olga to shoot a flare for help, but they fear their distress signal will go unanswered amidst the flood of others. Stranded on the roof with dwindling resources, the surviving members of Group 7 prepare for the worst. Meanwhile, Marina's conversation with ID is interrupted by news of the attack, prompting him to stress the importance of time. Together with Genya and Sasha, they embark on a mission to locate RA, but the risks are high. ID's immortality is only guaranteed if nobody decides to kill him. Upon arriving at the base, ID hypnotizes Sasha to determine Ra's location. However, Dalmatov is hesitant to trust ID's motives when they attempt to gather remaining troops. As the threat intensifies and Moscow falls under attack, Marina must convince Dalmatov that ID is their only hope. Meanwhile, on the rooftop, the team decides to descend in search of stranded teams. Olga is paralyzed by fear, but Yura comforts her with a kiss, kindling a connection between them that catches them both off guard. As they roam the desolate streets, they come across a group of civilians and immediately gun them down without any conversation. Olga is disturbed by their actions, but Yura reminds her of the danger posed by the drone-controlled humans. As they are attacked once again, Yura fights back and sustains an injury. Seeking refuge in a garage, they tend to Yura's wound and find a car with keys and gas to make their escape. At the base, Sasha reveals his fear of RA, leading ID to permit him to stay behind for his own safety. As Dolmatov's team departs in tanks, Marina discovers Sasha is missing and halts the mission. Suddenly, rockets rain down and destroy the base. Marina confronts ID, accusing him of knowing about the attack, and he confesses, stating that the sacrifice of Sasha was necessary for their ultimate victory. The following day, Yura and Olga reunite with their remaining team members, Oleg and Alyona, who are low on ammo and without a base. Dolmatov's team offers to join forces to take down RA, with Olga and Alyona forced to accompany them due to the lack of options. The group finally arrives in Kirov, ready to face their most dangerous adversary yet. Dolmatov and his army are shocked and they reach their destination and find no opposition. But ID reveals that their enemy RA thinks he died in the base attack. As they approach the skyscraper, they face a horde of droned humans and bombers jumping from above. With tanks leading the charge, they make their way towards the entrance while a few soldiers, including Yura and ID, head to the rooftop to confront RA. The battle on the rooftop is brutal, and Oleg takes the civilians upstairs for safety. ID and the soldiers engage RA, but Yura is thrown off the edge by RA. ID and Ra's fight is evenly matched until Yura climbs back up and a massive explosion rocks the streets. RA gets distracted, and ID seizes the opportunity to remove a device from Ra's body. Yura finishes him off with a grenade. With RA dead, ID can release the controlled humans. However, the next task is to fight off the aliens arriving on a spaceship. As ID reminds them, humans were made to kill. The fate of humanity now rests in their hands. As the chaos and tension escalate, Genya grapples with the truth behind ID's motives and the horrific reality of their situation. But as questions mount and trust dwindles, it all comes to a head when Genya attempts to attack ID with a knife, only to unwittingly kill Marina instead. Oleg is torn between his loyalty to his friends and the necessity of ID's powers in the face of the impending alien invasion. In a brutal fight, Yura and Oleg clash, and Olga is forced to make a shocking decision when she sees Yura beating Oleg. As tensions reach a boiling point, Genya and Oleg both take drastic actions that have irreversible consequences. In the midst of the chaos, a giant spaceship ominously descends upon the city, signaling the arrival of a new and unimaginable threat. With the fate of humanity hanging in the balance, Oleg seizes the device ID had taken from RA and leads the women away, leaving a trail of destruction and a shattered group behind them. After acquiring weapons from the corpses, the trio gains access to the spaceship, which had opened its doors in anticipation of Ra's arrival. Upon entering, they discover hundreds of aliens in cryogenic pods, and when Oleg activates the device, oxygen begins flowing into the pods, indicating that RA was meant to awaken them soon. They attempt to use their weapons to eliminate the aliens, but it becomes evident that they lack the necessary resources and time to complete the task. Observing that the pipes containing the oxygen are located on the floor, Olga realizes that destroying one pipe can kill multiple aliens at once. The group subsequently embarks on a mission to destroy as many pipes as possible, successfully thwarting the impending invasion. However, when Alyona is about to obliterate the final pipe, she hesitates upon realizing that it contains children in the pods. The children eventually awaken and emerge from their pods, prompting Oleg to lay down his weapon, as he cannot bear the thought of harming innocent life.